Okay there. So I'm going to do this next stage here, but before I get too far into this next stage, I noticed at the very end of the last stage that something didn't seem right about the way that this front polygon looks. I don't know if you can see. I'm imagining that you can, that there's this kind of like three different little shaded areas here. It's like there's something weird going on here. And then I looked at this and I'm like, let me switch to vertex. And I switched to vertex and I'm like, where do these lines go to? Where is the vertex that these lines are connected to? And for that matter, where's the vertex that those lines are connected to? So I thought, hey, let me turn off the skins and there we go. I just found that vertex. Let me see something here. Oh, what do you know? Look where that's at. So what I'm going to do here, rather than move that thing around, I'm going to turn on the target weld button and I'm going to tell that vertex to be welded to that vertex, just to anchor that. Then I'm going to come over here to this side, zoom in on this. Oops, zoomed in too much. Let's select the vertex that I want to get my hands on right there. That's the vertex, and I want to connect it up there to that vertex. There we go. Now if I press F3, turn the skins back on, and if I select polygons, and if I kind of look at this polygon, I'll notice that it looks a lot nicer. Now, there's some other detail here I'm going to clean up on the bottom of this before I start to create my selection sets. So I can see there's still a vertex issue over here. There's still something going on. If I look at these vertexes, these vertices here, yeah, there's some stuff going on. Let me go right in here into vertex mode, and let me turn the skins back on. What is going on with this one vertex right here? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse. I'm going to collapse a whole bunch of these vertices um, into these vertices along the side right here. So let me turn off that move tool and let me kind of zoom in on this. I'm going to collapse this one into that one and into that one, into that one, then into that one. I'm going to go right down the line, collapsing all these vertices using target weld. So I'll weld that vertex to that vertex to that vertex to that, and this vertex all the rest of the way down. Weld this vertex, weld it to the next one, weld it to the next one, and weld it to that one. Now this vertex, things are stretching down. I'm going to weld it down to that one down there. And then let me get the move tool. With the move tool, I'm going to select that one vertex and just move it up in Z. I think I'm going to move it up to about right there, kind of in line with these others. Bring that down, turn the target weld back on, and I'm going to continue welding vertices. I've kind of straightened that corner out quite a bit. Got that corner straightened out a whole lot. If I select this polygon here, ooh, and it's cleaned up too. There's no more of those deformations that I had before, those deformations that were in the skin. And while I don't have any deformations over here, I still want to clean this up. I need to get all these vertices out of here and collapse a bunch of that detail over there. So again, I'm going to get the target weld and target weld that vert to that vert to that vert. I'm getting off of that bottom vertex. Target weld to that vert right there. Target weld in. No. Yeah, move that one up. There we go. And let's see here. I think I'm just about where I want to be. me turn the move tool on and let me start straightening up this last bit right here. Bring that one up. This vertex right here, I want to target weld it to. There we go. Yeah, just kind of like the other side. In fact, it's a little slightly different. I actually, if I wanted to match it, there we go. I'm matching the two sides, matching what I did with the vertices. And yeah, I've kind of, now this bottom polygon looks very clean. When I start flashing it around right here, that bottom polygon looks very clean there on the bottom. Let me bring my reference image back up. There we go. Yeah. So this thing is, it's about ready for me now to break it up into selection sets. So selection sets are what I'm going to use in order to kind of not, these are not going to be the final materials. This is just basically going to apply some materials to this so that it's got the look here. So we can see this dark brown, we can see that silver. I'll work on getting the noise in that. That's, I believe that either noise or a dent modifier on the material will create that effect. Make this one gold down here on the bottom. So I basically have three areas that I want to color right now. Um, and in fact, there is kind of a bar going right across the middle here, which, I could create the space for that. Like if I went to edge and selected this edge and selected the opposite edge, connect, and that's going to throw a line in there for me. And I could grab that line real quick, and that will let me break this little section up right here into yet another polygon so that I can have something to build this little strip here in the middle out of. And I will build this little strip out of something right there in the middle. How I'm going to do that, I'm not sure at the moment, but I'll sort it out. So I'm going to create like four different colors here. A dark brown, another not quite matching. This is almost like a burgundy, and that's kind of a brown. This is like a brownish gold. I'm not going to worry about the texture in here either just yet. Later I will. Okay. So let me just get some basic colors. Oh, also, and the screen. The screen. And there's like something going around this thing, like a bar that has a little gap right there in the middle. We're going to have to try to model that as well. But for right now, I want to create what's called selection sets. Looking at the front face of this, if I look at right here at the very top, see where my mouse is going around, where it says Create Selection SE. If I let my mouse sit there for a second, there we go. Name selection sets. So assigns a name to the current selection or pick a saved set from the list. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up some selection sets. Um, so I think first off, I will try to get the whole thing just like this. Try to get the whole thing like that. And then I'm going to check this box that says turn off back facing or ignore back facing. That means when I go to hold my Alt key down and let me get off the move tool, be on the selection tool, hold my Alt key down, and as I sweep this out across this whole front face right here, trying to get everything that is not part of, and I'll hold the Alt key down to get a little more out of there and get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that little bit right there. What I want to have selected here is just the part that Uh, I'm going to paint burgundy. And so that's going to be the whole case and that area around there. So with all that selected, I'm going to click up here inside that box that says create selection set. And I'm going to call this, call it shell, because it is like the shell of the whole thing. Next, I want to get inside. Just that one polygon right there, all by itself. I'm going to call that one control panel. And then this polygon right across here, I will call divider. Divider. And then now I'm going to be careful here as I try to select these. There's that first batch. I still got ignore back facing off, and this is important. With ignore back facing off, I can draw these little areas of what I want to get and not get anything behind. If I didn't have that turned on, I would be getting any polygons behind these polygons I'm selecting. And this part is looking at it's the silver part. So that's the silver part right here on the front. And so I'll call this silver. Silver part, why not? Last thing I'm going to select here is I'm going to try to get as much of the screen as I possibly can. The parts that I don't get, I will get them by selecting them. These are all the parts that are part of the screen. And when I look at the rest of this, I should see I don't have any other polygons selected all the way around, just the screen, just the part that's sticking out of the front that would be the screen for this. And I'll create a selection set called screen. All right. Now I'm going to grab my material editor and I'm going to start to paint this thing. Press the M key, open up the material editor. Here it comes. Let's think about what we're going to do here. The silver is going to be a metallic. This burgundy for the case is going to be, in fact, these are all going to look, they're kind of going to have a metallic sheen. So I might be using shellac over and over again. So let's see, the first shellac material that I'll bring out, double click that, and I will name it, and let's double check my selection sets, because I'd like to name my materials to match my selection sets. I've got shell, silver, screen, divider. So if I were to make this, that's going to be control panel. Okay, so I'll call this one control panel. And it's going to be a kind of a yellow, not too strong of a yellow, but a yellow. That's too strong. And then let me look and see here. Just go with that. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. Oh, wait. Before I do that, I better select that. Control panel. Got the control panel selected. Bring out the little dongle and come over the control panel. See, out here, I can't apply it, but if I put my mouse over what I want to apply it to, it's been applied. And if I click the quick render button, I'll get a render and see that, ooh, there's my control panel down there at the bottom. Cool. Open up the material editor again, and I'll tile these, and I can collapse these for right now because I'm kind of done with this one. Collapse that down, push that up there. Bring out another shellac. This shellac I'm going to call shell. And the shell, it's the one that's got that strong burgundy kind of color. So I'm looking for a really deep red. Like, man, did I get lucky on one click? Got a nice deep red. So I'm going to click on shell, get that selection set for shell, stack these right here and collapse those down so that they can be nice and compact. Here's my shell material. I'll bring this out, mouse over my shell, open up the render button, and man, there we go. I got my shell on there. All right, cool. Now I'm going to bring out another shellac. And this shellac material, uh, we'll call this the silver part. Let me see, making the silver color. Where does silver live? Something just occurred to me. I wonder. Color hex. Color hex color codes. Let's find a silver. Hex silver. 192, 192, 192. That's the hexadecimal for silver. It just so happens with these colors here, I can do hexadecimals of 192 tab, 192 tab, 192 tab, and yeah, it's giving me kind of a silver color right there. I'll click OK, and let me select silver, and I'm going to go ahead and stack these and apply that material to it and clean these up. And I might actually do a little fine tuning on this silver material right here. Let me see what it's looking like in the quick render. Yeah, yeah. All right. There's this setting here in the silver material called specularity. I'm going to run the specular level up. See that little curve that's growing right there? Run that little specular level up and let me see what this is looking like. Nicer. I like it. Okay, I'll go with that. So I got that. Now I will bring in just a physical material. And this physical material I'm going to call brown. Mm, what did I call it in the groups here? I think I called it divider. And my divider color, I'm going to make that color a kind of a brown. That'll do. And I will select the divider. And you notice that even when I selected that polygon, it actually, the selection set changed to divider because Max knows, he's picking his divider. And let me stack these right here and I'll collapse down my divider and grab the little dongle and bring it over here and apply it. And let's see, yeah, it's beginning to look a little bit like that TV. If I bring up this original picture here, let me collapse that down and let me find Google Classroom. Whoop, there it is. So I bring this original picture back here and then bring that render window over here so I can compare and contrast these guys. Yeah, it's not an exact match, but it's beginning to shape up. It's beginning to look a little bit like that TV over there. The last thing I want to do is the screen. Now the screen's going to be a special material, okay? It's just going to be an ordinary physical material that I'm going to bring in, and I'm going to call it screen. And its base color I'm going to set to kind of a very light blue, a very light blue. But the setting that's important to me is transparency. I want to set the transparency to 0.9. Before the transparency was 0, but I'm going to set the transparency to 0.9. With that weight, it's almost transparent. In fact, maybe I could even set it to 0.85 and it'll become even a little more visible. And I will grab that material, get the little dongle coming out of there, and head over here. And now I've painted my screen with that material. Collapse that and stack all my materials with that button. And I'm going to put the material editor away for the moment. Now, I'm going to also modify the render settings. Okay, I've been doing just a standard 640 by 480 low resolution render. I'm going to bump this up now. I'm going to bump it up to HDTV video, which is the highest definition renderer that's capable with the scanline renderer. And then I'm going to hit the render button, and it takes a little bit longer because it's rendering it at a bit higher definition. And you might be thinking, okay, you did that thing with the transparency on the screen, but how do I know that it's really transparent? Well, here's what we'll do. Let me convince you. Let me turn that off so nothing's selected here on my TV. I'm just going to select my TV. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to hide my selection. Don't worry, it hasn't gone away. On the Create tab, right here, starting right from like 000, I'm going to click and drag out a teapot. And I'm going to move that teapot up in the air some, like right about there. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to unhide all. And I just put a teapot inside of my TV. Now, if I'm very careful here, I can even position it a little bit. I'd like to get it positioned. This teapot looks pretty large. Maybe I will lower its size down a little bit. There we go. A little smaller. Now, it's inside the TV. If indeed I did make that screen transparent, when I hit the render button, I should see a teapot in there, and I sure do. But that teapot looks messed up. That's kind of crazy. Why does the teapot look so messed up? Move it closer to the screen and render that. Ah, interesting. So what's happening is the fact that I'm rendering this through a curved surface, okay, the curved surface of this glass is distorting the look of that teapot. I'm going to shrink the teapot down a little bit smaller, and I'll probably get a nice clean render of it. Still getting a little along this edge here, because remember that the screen is curving away right here. So it's coming together, looking pretty good. I'll be ready to start building some of the knobs and doing some of the fine tuning on it, trying to get some noise on that material so it's got a texture to it. And we're ready to go. Thanks a lot. I'm happy with how that turned out.